I never hate my race, but until recently I didn't know history class was jacked completely. Found my new family with the team going free. My old family doesn't understand me, cause I am so pro-white. No coke, no Sprite, I am rolling with the public, gonna be more white. I saw them twist history right before my very eyes. Insurrection Day, it's in the book and it's all lies. But now I am alive and well to tell it. But will generations down the line be able to sell it? I've always been a thinker on the search for both sides, but they label me an outcast and they cannot tell me why. Guess I'm just a black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all to be red. I have to protect my family. Why does affirmative action make them not hire me? Even in the countries where I'm the minority. Is my race just that awesome and no other could compete? Is that what the anti-whites are trying to tell me? Why am I always seen as such a threat? To the point they want to strip me down till there's nothing left. Old friends from high school, man, I haven't kept one. But I got a new crew and it's where I belong. Cause if you ain't going free, you ain't rolling with me. And there are even anti-whites in my own family. But I am the one who's comfortable with myself, trying to save them from the hate so wildly raising hell. Cause I'm the black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all to be red. I have to protect my family. Scotland is too white, is Nigeria too black? Don't get your panties in a bunch, cause I have the right to ask. See, I'm the black sheep, cause I call it hypocrisy. And the media will give you emotions, but they will not give you honesty. Yeah, you have your feelings, but I have the crime rate. And I'ma shoot to kill if there's a danger my way. So I do not blame the cops, just the ones who are cowards, who hesitate to pull the trigger unless it is one of ours. Cause he's a black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all to bleed red. I have to protect my family. So I'm gonna find people to death. just trying to help our people go free. I guess I'm too blind to see. I'm just trying to help our people go free. I'm just blind to see. I'm too blind. I'm just trying to see people go free. I'm just trying to see. I'm just trying. I'm just trying to help our people go free. Good evening, America. I'm Jason, and you are watching Jason Goes Political. For the sake of continuity, all financial gifts, $19 or less, will be read at the end of the show. Everything $20 or more, I will read as soon as I see it. Please give me some feedback. Let me know that the audio is coming through just fine, that the visual is just fine. I see Hyperborean Dream saying that it is blurry for him. Well, I hope it's not blurry for everyone, but I guess we'll find out here in a moment. Otherwise, we have got a great show. You may financially gift over the course of this show. You can do so at Entropy, at Odyssey, and at Cash App. The URLs for all are in the description below. And looks like our platforms are all up and running properly. A little bit of a tech issue, but we're rolling. Sound looks and sounds great, says Cy14. Thank you so much. We have what a amount of news going on today. I swear the last couple of days has been something truly unbelievable. And everybody's just missing it. I think a lot of folks are missing it. They're not paying attention. We also have, by the way, an action item at the end of the show today that we would like everybody to participate in. But where to begin on such a big day? We have, today we hit the highest debt in U.S. history at $31 trillion. $31 trillion in debt. We had just the other day the hero in the Coast Guard, saving lives, one upon the other, even saving wheelchairs. Biden calling him up and thanking him for his efforts. And of course, he's being thrown out of the military because he won't take the COVID vaccine, which of course, vaccines are supposed to prevent you from getting the thing. But that's for the WHO and the CDC to talk about. You have the American Medical Association sending a letter to the Department of Justice asking that there be some force on freedom of speech to prevent people from talking about people who are changing their genders, because this is making it difficult for the AMA, American Medical Association, to change the genders of children who just need their genders to be changed. And you'll see that actually links to a conversation, a speech, of course, that Putin
gave just recently. You have simultaneously the UN working with Google to control the conversation on Google on searches about climate change and whether or not it's anthropogenic or whether or not it's happening at all, whether or not it's supposed to happen, whether or not it's a good thing. The UN is involved making it. You have Trump suing for $475 million or something like this. CNN, we know why. I don't know if others know why. You have a North Korean missile flying over Japan. We know why. I don't know if others know why. And you have gas prices going up once again in the United States, which does not bode well for the Democrats as we come up to these midterm elections. I hope it goes real bad for them. Although it's not like the Republicans, these anti-white Republicans, are an alternative. But our first story today, now I'm going to stay plugged in with all of you all. Your comments and questions over the course of the stream, make sure you tag me as No White Guilt to help me see that you have reached out. You can do so on DLive. You can do so on Odyssey. You can do so on Entropy on the question or Talk Kevin widget. You can do so on YouTube, of course. All financial gifts over the course of the show will be read. Anything coming in late, I will read in a subsequent show. Thank you all for being here. Jason Goes Political. We're going to have a cozy little affair today. It's a wonderful thing. And let's get into this first story, because this is so telling of the sickness that the white race is afflicted with, even in the explicit element of the white sympathetic sphere. We'll jump into the hip-hop news over here at TMZ. Kanye West, the BLM fires back. White Lives Matter shirt hurts real people. Of course, what happened was Kanye West and Candace Owens wore White Lives Matters shirts to his, what is it over that he's having over there in France? I guess they design clothes, so it's some sort of a fashion show. Let's see. Author and activist Mark Lamont Hill came on TMZ Live Tuesday to discuss Kanye West's White Lives Matter controversy, and he's shooting down the notion that the guy gets a pass because of his mental health. Now, it's like a well-known thing, a well-known, I guess, a point of conversation whenever this Kanye West character comes up, and that is that he's crazy. It's pretty well accepted that he's crazy. He has said, and maybe it'll say here as much, he has said that he skips his meds. Very often he skips his meds. And so his opinion doesn't mean shit. His opinion, first of all, should not mean shit for white people who care about white well-being, who care about what's happening to America. Because I'll tell you on another level why that is, on several other levels, why that is. I mean, it's not like we've been talking about this for more than a decade, and yet we still have people falling into this trap of, wow, a black guy agrees with us. That means we're legitimate. No, it doesn't. It is a fundamental, sickening understanding, fundamental misunderstanding of the anti-white narrative and what motivates anti-whites. And that is why we see it so often in the form of these limp-dicked, brainless females of both sexes in the conservative circles and in the MAGA circles, rank and file wonderful folks, their leadership and the folks who are turning out their information, absolute losers and traitors to the United States. And that is why so many otherwise good people, they can't get it straight. They just don't understand what's happening in the world. They think that if you have a non-white person who agrees with you, that you are somehow validated. You are demonstrating a deep sickness that we call white guilt, a deep sickness that we call white noir, and you need to be treated for it. You need to get involved in the Go Free method and apply it to yourself on a daily basis until you can see that your head has been up your ass. That's where you need to begin. It means nothing that he agrees with us. It means absolutely nothing because, number one, he doesn't. This guy, Kanye West, is an iconoclast. He is iconoclastically giving the middle finger to the establishment. What is he revealing? If there's anything you can talk about with your friends and family about Kanye West wearing a Black Lives Matter, and by the way, White Lives Matter. By the way, it should have been a bit of a tip-off to you when you saw Candace Owens also wearing the White Lives Matter. Should have been a bit of a tip-off that this was your basic tier, bitch tier, conservative nonsense, which has caused us to come to this place in our society in America today, which has caused us to reach this abject low in the defense of everything we care about. We're going to use this proxy to defend our interests. Well, you are the reason. I tell you, it's not surprising that there are so many of you out there that just love female leaders. It's not surprising. Politics is a fight. It's not surprising that there are so many of you out there that want to send our little girls and our old women to fight for us. What a bunch of fucking cowards you are. What a bunch of absolute gimps every single one of you are that want to send a woman to do our fight for our well-being. What a bunch of losers who would look to a non-white person who is just being iconoclastic and say, oh, I'm validated now. I feel so good. I can go and tell people in my community. If you're at that point where you feel like you can go to your community because a black person, a non-white person has said something like white lives matter, you've got to get a new community. You've also got to get a set because you are ballless. You were gelded a long time ago. The anti-whites ate them right off of you. And you've been walking around like that ever since without any the least bit knowledge that that's the case. Kanye West has mental issues. Kanye West is an iconoclast. What can you say about what he did with this shirt? What can you say that's of any value? Those who are going free should know. You can go to those in your circles, friends, family, and strangers, and you can say, Kanye West just made evident for everyone to see that anti-whiteism is the establishment, that anti-whites are the establishment, because Kanye West is mental, and he is demonstrated for many years that he likes to be iconoclastic, to punch back at the establishment. Well, where is he punching? He's not punching at the white man in charge of everything. He's punching at anti-whites in charge of everything. Because this MLB, viewed at in a mirror, is one of the great weapons of anti-whiteism. So he's punching back at them. He does not care. If you think for a moment that he cares about white people, you are an imbecile. And I will underscore that. And I will bold that. And I will highlight that. He doesn't give a shit about white people. This is about thumbing his nose at those who are in charge. This is about giving the middle finger to those who dominate. That's all this is. He doesn't care about white people. Candace Owens doesn't care about white people. And to whatever degree their concern for white people manifests in their actual inner thoughts and then in the real world, I don't care. Because I'm a white man, a man of the West, standing up for our people, for God's sake. How many will join me as men and women of the West? How many more children do we have to see subjected to satanic butchery in the West before you join me? How many other times do we have to see our little girls and our old women sent by us into the battlefield of politics to watch them get defeated again and again and rolled over? If you haven't learned, perhaps over the course of your life, perhaps from all of the studies out there about the differences between men and women, women are far more likely to bend over backwards, to be far more likely to appease others, to be far more. Have you not realized this? How many of them do you have to see rolled over again and again and threatened again and again before you finally stand by me and say, we're putting an end to this? How many times do you have to watch our people, our advocates, our people pushing the news about, with all their doom documenting about how bad it is, before you finally say, I'm willing to do something about it. I'm going to stand shoulder to shoulder with no white guilt. You let Kanye West invite me to his fashion show, and we'll both wear no white guilt shirts, and then we can have a conversation and we can start using the lexicon, and then he'll be demonstrating that he cares about white people. This is a stunt to give a middle finger to the establishment, which he is revealing is anti-white. It has nothing to do. It's not based. It's not cool. It's not hip. It's not keck. It's not with it. It is an iconoclast giving a middle finger to the establishment. That it's serving his own interests. Do not be one of these white losers who are now going to start talking about all of these wonderful qualities of Kanye West, because you're going to burn your reputation. Everyone else thinks he is psychotic, and he has said as much over the years. How disgusting that so many explicit white sympathetic people immediately fall into the implicit white sympathy of cuckservatism as soon as a non-white person pulls a stunt like this. Kanye, by his own admission, deals with bipolar disorder and has even said he sometimes doesn't take his meds. But MLH says that alone can't be excuse for what Kanye's saying in regard to Black Lives Matter, or what many consider outrageous behavior. Can you imagine? Could you imagine not being able to say, I am right in your family circles? I'm right, because no white guilt says the same thing I'm saying. But you can go to your family circles. You can go to your family circles and you can say to them that a person they know to be crazy, that generally in society, they know people to be mentally unstable to whatever degree that this guy is, by his own admission, doesn't take his meds by his own admission sometimes. Can you imagine feeling like you are more equipped and empowered to go to your family members because this guy wore a White Lives Matter shirt? Record number of females in Congress. Record number. And it is potentially set to grow. Mark thinks Kanye's trying to have his cake and eat it too, especially when he picks and chooses when he wants to lean into his black identity, and it's a bad look from Mark's point of view. The Black Lives Matter movement is going after Kanye West for the controversial White Lives Matter shirt he wore with, of course, Candace Owens, as you can see her right there, edgy as it gets in service to white well-being. Let me just tell you, saying it's nothing but a stunt to hurt folks fighting for justice. In a statement to TMZ, BLM says, quote, while some may see Kanye and Candace's stunt as a distraction, it was a stunt. We recognize that it harms thousands of families fighting for justice for their loved ones killed by state-sanctioned violence. Sure, state-sanctioned violence. This is the fantasy of the anti-whiteism. This is what saying White Lives Matter does. It opens the door to the conversation about and legitimizes the moniker and slogan Black Lives Matter. And then you have to have a conversation about whether or not there is state-sanctioned violence to murder and etc., all non-white people, but particularly black people. I can't believe I bother to do this shit with so many people regressing. Like, it's just unbelievable. BLM's also ripping Candace Owens, who also wore the shirt, for what they view as spreading toxic confusion, claiming the shirts are phrasing can be used to legitimize violent assaults on black people. White Lives Matter, my God. Kanye should know better, BLM says, telling us Kanye knows very well that white lives have never been targeted for oppression. And what did I tell you right as this came out? This is going to say, of course, white lives matter. That of course those lives matter. They matter too much. Remember, I told you all that as soon as it came out. Black folks, in contrast, are at the bottom of virtually every economic, social, and political measure so you're seeing firsthand what I told you would happen You're seeing right in this story what I told you would happen if you used White Lives Matter. How many more examples? How many more times do I have to be right? Virtually every economic, social, and political measure because of centuries of individual and institutional racism. Oh boy, there you go. For his part, Kanye says he wore the White Lives Matter shirt at his fashion show, that's what it was, because he thinks BLM was a scam. Okay, he said right there what I just said. He doesn't care about white people. He didn't say I wore this because white people are discriminated against in every walk of life. So what are you going to do? You're going to go talk to your friends, family, and strangers. Maybe you got something you're going to take to that guy at work now. You're going to set him straight because this black rapper who is unstable, he's got bipolar, I guess to be technical, doesn't take his meds all the time. To be technically accurate, bipolar. And you're going to go to him and say, well, he wore that White Lives Matter shirt. The bipolar guy who doesn't always take his meds, that everybody will say is, quote, colloquially, they'll say, quote, is crazy. They'll say, and when he's healthy, that's when, by the way, when he's healthy, that's when he's saying things that comport with the anti-white narrative. That's going to be their comeback. That's going to be what they say to you. When he's on his meds, he says sane things. He says things that comport with the anti-white narrative. He only agrees with you when he's off his meds. Boy, you can't see the train coming down the tracks, can you? You can't see the fucking train coming down. Put your fucking bibs back on. So he says he wore it to say to BLM because he thinks it's a scam. That's why he wore it. That's what he's saying here. You have a whole movement that's supposed to be about America first. That's training young white guys to idolize black rappers and to use their slang. How the fucking hell is anybody okay with that? How the fucking hell are people okay with that? Why am I the only one to talk about that? You have your implicit white sympathetic folks in the conservative MAGA nationalist sphere who are listening to non-white people like Candace Owens, loving her, and Mommy Malkin, loving them. They can be wonderful people. They can stand up for things that we also stand up for. That is not, they are not legitimizing your concerns or representing your well-being as a white person. You got it? And you are sick if you're looking to them for that. But it gets worse, because then when you get into the explicit white sympathetic sphere at America First places and conversation, they're worshiping the same folks. Mommy Malkin, on their knees for, bent over for. Candace Owens, bent over for. Laura Loomer, bent over for. Black psychotic rappers, bent over for. How is it okay that 15-year-old white boys are being taught to idolize black rappers in any sort of white sympathy? BLM disagrees, of course, with his assessment. And to be explicit and lucid, to be very clear, the population calls him crazy, not yours truly. The population says he's out of his mind, not yours truly. He says he suffers from bipolar. He says he sometimes doesn't take his medicine. Yeah. Idolize this guy, put him out front, use him as your shield that you are not a racist and you are a fucking loser. You are a scumbag and you are perpetuating the exact same problems that have caused the white race to be unable in any way, shape, or form to reclaim its destiny. Throughout all of our lives, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and many more generations. So you got generations of white boys right now should be getting trained to be white men here in service to white well-being. But what do you have for men in their 20s, or males, white males in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s? They're saying, well, we should support Meloni. We should support Mama Meloni over there in Italy. We should support female leaders. We should have Caroline Levitt up there in, New Hampshire. We should have these little girls and old women out there fighting our fights for us. That's what you're saying to them? And when you're not saying that, you're saying, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't idolize the non-white sports ball athletes anymore. But no, you should idolize the black rappers and use the same slang they use. That's what you're saying to the young white men? So they should send our women. That's the message you send, by the way. You absolute craven bastards. You're saying to them, they should send our women, our little girls and old women out to fight for us. And we should idolize black males and use their slang. That's the message you're sending to young white guys. No wonder they grow up gelded. No wonder they grow up not wanting to find a woman and start a life, be a man. No wonder, because the generations coming before them are all a bunch of loser pussies. I mean, every single one. I still getting messages over saying that women shouldn't be fighting our fights for us. Don't send those messages to me. I form an opinion about you. Yeah, young white men out there, idolize black rappers, use their slang, wear their colors, talk about them in your family circles and in your friend circles. Tell everybody that you can't be a racist because you idolize, you worship this black rapper that the rest of society will say is crazy. You want generations of white boys to grow up to be men, then you got to turn them on to yours truly. You want them to grow up to be men. You know, we should have tens of thousands. After all of the successes, we should have tens of thousands of followers here. We should be able to have conferences with tens upon tens of thousands. And you would have white boys becoming Spartans, goddammit. You would have them becoming Spartans instead of goddamn video game playing pussies with pictures of posters of Meloni and Kanye West on the wall behind them. Oh, and the Pope. Fucking joke. Every one of them are jokes. Hey, sometimes I just got to tell the truth. That's the way it is. Sometimes I just got to tell the truth. And it sucks for you. For many of you. For the champs out there, you're like, goddamn right. Getting right. Then you're going to wonder, guys out there in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, how is it that you've reached the old folks' home and all the generations of white guys behind you are prancing around on their tiptoes with broken wrists and hiding behind the skirts of girls and old women? You're going to wonder why. Well, you have your answer. It was you, coward. Celebrate. Unbelievable. I go from 1 week celebrating this old woman in Italy being our prize fighter to the next celebrating a bipolar black billionaire rapper as our champ. No one, what the white race has just been, not everybody, but generally speaking, has sunk so low It's hard to talk to any of them. Look at how sick this race is. Look at how sick. And then they feign. That's what all it is. All of them are just feigning to be warriors. Well, I can't wait until the day come and your ass is going to be hiding behind some woman's skirt. I know it, because you don't do jack shit now when you can. Elon Musk suggests buying Twitter at his original price. Elon Musk. Does anybody even care to know the reasons for some of these other issues I mentioned? You know I'm just going to end up right. You know I'm going to end up right again. You know months will go by, and then you'll have to pretend like the content creator of your choice didn't say it wrong. You'll have to just roll with the punches. That no white guilt guy, he's right again. What arrogant POS he is. No wonder champions in service to white well-being. That's why the champions have come here to pick up the doctrine of going free. That's why. Because elsewhere you have such sick and degenerate, maybe they do need to be gender shifted. Maybe all these boys do need to be gender shifted. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they were meant to be little girls. Because they can't find a real man. A real man appear before them, and they're like, nah, no thank you. Where's the guy that wants to brag on how the women, they can be fierce. They can be real fierce. I don't know. Have you ever seen her get mad? No, but you know what I just saw? Is that you're a pussy. That's what I just saw. Have you ever seen her get mad? Have you ever seen me get mad? Have you ever seen a real man get mad? Well, no, I just grew up with mom. She would get fierce, and then my dad would hide too. That's because your dad didn't have any balls. Your mother's probably asexual. She reproduced without his ballless ass. Elon Musk suggests buying Twitter at his original price. The billionaire's surprise move came months after he tried to back out of a $44 billion deal to acquire the company. Now, what did I say about Musk and why he was buying it? Did anybody else articulate the genuine reason? Musk doesn't give a shit about free speech. That's why he tried to back out of that deal. Or are you going to try to say to me that, well, it was business and he was trying to get a better price, except now he's paying the same price. So it kind of doesn't look like business. It actually is worth a lot less. So if he does not reduce the price and pays for this, it was like they just had him bent over a barrel and had at him one after the other, bent over that barrel for as long as they wanted him there. Because it's actually worth a lot less than $54.20 a share. This wasn't about free speech at any moment. I told you the truth. Were you one of the ones that were brave enough and smart enough to keep it and to spread that? Elon Musk got to share his side of the story on his Twitter account. When all of the media, this is what I told you. You can go back and look at it. When all of the media out there said XYZ about Musk, he was able to punch back because he had the platform of Twitter. But there was this ever threat to his ability to speak there. He always had to rein it in, even if only a little. And billionaires don't really like having to rein in what they want to do. Folks in charge really don't like having to rein in what they want to do. They really don't like when there's the possibility of having the rug pulled out from underneath of them. And so Musk decided he's a billionaire. He's tired of the threat that Twitter wields over him, at any moment able to take his voice away. And he knew that within one day, all of the media would be able to say whatever they want, and he would have no way to counter it. That was Musk's only reason for beginning the reckless process of trying to buy Twitter. Why was it reckless? Why was it irresponsible of Elon Musk? because Twitter is not God itself. Twitter does not have power that emanates from Twitter. Twitter, I told you, is not the sun radiating its own light on the solar system. Twitter has only ever been the moon. Twitter glows because, as I told you, all of the other institutions, Twitter shines, I should say, because all of the other institutions decided, the anti-white institutions decided that they were going to cite Twitter and the users on Twitter and the trends on Twitter as the pulse of society. And so in everything from theses, doctoral theses, papers written in high school, junior high school, all of establishment media, they cited Twitter as the pulse of society. And then the masses, because they're idiots, thought Twitter has the power. Twitter is the platform that speaks for the people. I got to do all the thinking. I can be right all the time. I got to be right all the time. And great folks in this community, Naderific, Nathaniel, Brant Danger, Franklin, Fornull, on and on, champions, are able to do the thinking and see, holy shit, this is the truth. This is what the idiots think. But the idiots looking at what we're saying ask, where is their Kanye way poster? Where is Mommy Maloney that's going to come and save them? Yeah, that no white guy gets pissed. Yeah, he gets pissed because as the ship goes down, I'm also on it. I don't, there's nowhere else for me to go. I can't like take the heroes, men and women of the West. I can't like wrap my arms around them, part the sea, Moses style, and walk to safety somewhere else, because there is nowhere else to white flight for the coward race known as the white race. There's nowhere else to run. I'm going to drown with the rest of these abject retarduses. Twitter has power because anti-whites said it did. If it was under other ownership in its current state, it would not have power. The anti-whites will not cite it any longer as the pulse of society. They will move on to citing another platform. It might be Instagram. It might be Facebook. It might be TikTok. It might be a brand new platform. And I guarantee you that they already have one in the works. And then what will happen? They will begin citing that platform as the voice of society, the pulse of society. And then all of the midwits out there will say Twitter, or this new platform, the Twitter 2, the new Twitter, the Twitter Redux is the place to be. That's where the conversations are had. Because those conversations that happen on that platform that's on your phone where you can participate, those conversations end up in the headlines. The Twitter conversations won't end up in headlines anymore when Elon Musk owns it. So probably smart people got to Musk, or he figured it out for himself, as he's obviously a genius, and said, hey, Twitter doesn't create its own light. It has light thrown on it. So what you're going to do is you're going to buy a platform that is full of bots, and then they're just not going to cite it anymore. So how are you going to make money? How are you going to make this valuable to you? How are you going to make this valuable otherwise? So he decided to recruit from the population by saying, oh no, it's going to better everyone. Everyone's lives are going to, not just me, not just my selfish reason I got involved in this reckless thing that drove the price infinitely higher than the platform could ever be worth. It's all of you are going to be hurt unless I own it. It's a free speech issue, see? Then everybody said, well, it's true. It's true. It's all of us. And then they all ran over, and then they just accepted the pretext for what he was doing. Then he decides, why, this thing is infinitely more valuable than it could ever be worth. I want to get out of this. Says publicly, well, now I know that there are bots everywhere. But of course, he knew that there were bots everywhere. He knew the platform was rife with bots. He had said so as much in private texts that were going to be revealed in 2 weeks in court, which would make it very difficult to get out of the deal, which is not to say that he's definitely not going to go to court to try to get out of the deal. He's looking at negotiating an exit strategy that's going to cost him infinitely less than what they want the penalty to be, and potentially to hide his text messages, which who knows what else they include, aside from just saying that he's very much aware of how many bots there are. You can't come in later after making your offer and say, I got to get out of this deal because I didn't know how many bots there were, and have information of your conversations prior to you making the offer where you're talking about how many bots there are. It just doesn't work that way. So here's the deal. There's still a couple of options here, possibilities. They could negotiate an exit strategy. He wants to get out for far less than the penalty price. If that happens, he'll leave. The anti-whites of Twitter don't want that to happen. They want to be able to victimize him as much as possible. They want to force him to buy this lemon. In the United States and maybe elsewhere, a lemon usually refers to a used car that looks good, that's really junk. That as soon as you take it out on the road, the thing starts breaking down. They want him to be forced to buy that. And they want it to be at the price that he originally said. Now, it might end up at that price. Or he may end up being able to negotiate something short of that, which for his sake, I hope he does, because it's never going to be worth that kind of money. If he ends up in possession of it, you and I, where it matters for us, we have to make the most of Twitter while we can. Because Twitter will fill up with people, and who knows how long this would last. Maybe a couple years before the anti-whites get another platform rolling, or before they're able to shift everybody over to something else. We need to get on there and we need to spread the lexicon as rapidly as we can. And we have an action item at the end of the show today that we are all going to act on that incorporates Twitter. So, if he ends up in possession of Twitter, we need to act post-haste to get to as many of our brothers and sisters that are on the platform as we can before a couple of different things can happen. Restrictions placed by the federal government, for one. But also the platform succumbing to the presence of a new platform that the anti-whites will shine light on as the pulse of society. I don't think any more really needs to be read here. Elon Musk, in a surprise move, adds another twist to a months-long drama that has preoccupied Silicon Valley, Wall Street, and Washington. Proposed to deal with Twitter on Monday evening that could bring an end to an acrimonious legal fight between the billionaire and social media company. The arrangement would allow Mr. Musk to acquire Twitter $54.20 per share, the price he agreed to pay for the company in April. Two people familiar with the proposal were not authorized to speak, publicly said. Twitter which sued Mr. Musk in July to force him to go through with the deal after he said he wanted to back out, has yet to accept Mr. Musk's new proposal. His advances could be seen as a negotiating tactic to halt Twitter's litigation against him. Twitter will likely insist on broader protections from a court in Delaware where its suit was filed to ensure that Musk follows through with his plan, legal experts said. There are, of course, many intricacies in business and law that he and the anti-whites at Twitter and beyond Twitter could be pursuing right now that will come to our awareness in the coming days and weeks. So we need to keep an eye on this, but the plan remains the same. If he ends up in possession of Twitter, we need to make hay while the sun shines. Let's go ahead and move on to the final story that we are going to cover. Putin declares holy war on Western Satanism. Russian President Vladimir Putin invoked Jesus, Satan, and transsexual boogeymen in a Kremlin ceremony for carving up Ukraine on Friday, 30 September. Putin signed eagle-embossed, leather-bound tomes declaring 4 Ukrainian regions to be part of Russia in rites observed in a palatial hall filled with clapping VIPs, including Patriarch Kirill and soldiers in dress uniforms. I don't know if you all had heard all of these people out there who, in the white sympathetic sphere, who want to tell you that, and who have been trying to tell you for a long time, and I, of course, pumped the brakes on it, and it didn't matter, that Putin was our guy. And we don't do that here in White Positivity. We don't try to read the minds of people in power. We just observe the things that are happening, and then we act on those things in ways that are within our power to advance our cause toward its objective of recapturing our destiny for Western kind. That's what adults do. By the way, I should mention this, because there are going to be a lot of shows on, a lot of streams on that are going to be across the internet that you'll probably see many thousands of people watching that are going to be saying in a cheerleader fashion, in a big cheerleader fashion, with their mascots out, that we did it. We did it. Musk is going to buy Twitter. We did it. Russia annexed these 4 regions or states or whatever they call them in that part of the world. We did it. Those people are children. Those people are cheerleaders. Those are the kind of people that, even though they say they're male, you would still put a girl's cheerleading outfit on, because that is pathetic. Do not be a part of that, and tell the people who are that they are pathetic for engaging in that activity, that they are pathetic for being, for worshiping mascots, that they are pathetic for being cheerleaders. I just gave you concrete things that we can do. I talked about these things from an adult position with concrete actions that we can engage in to advance our cause to our objective, which is the recapture of our destiny. I am not going to sit here in front of you like a child, like a puerile imp, and say, we did it. We're so back. Because we didn't do shit when Elon Musk buys something. You need to talk and think like an adult if you want to be one. And if you're just learning, maybe you're 50, maybe you're 70, maybe you're just learning, then you could just watch me. The last time this happened, when Putin annexed Crimea in 2014, marked a dark hour for Europe's post-World War II security order. These, of course, are the anti-whites writing. Putin, by the way, and just to go back to that, everybody talking about how he's so much of our guy. he declared Anglo-Saxons the enemy. So, I mean, does it need to get any clearer? Are you going to try to give me an excuse for him? You know, giving me excuses for Putin is the exact same thing as these soft-brained, I don't know what you want to, like the corpus callosum has been cut in their heads. These twits across the West who always want to give excuses, like the Phoenix woman did, giving excuses for Mama Maloney. Of course she has to worship Zionism. Everybody does. So we just have to accept it. No, bitch. We absolutely don't accept it. That's the reason why that agreeableness that women are afflicted with, because it's wonderful when they work in the environments that agreeableness is supposed to be a power to them and a boon to them. With children, that agreeableness is why we are here today, in large part. And all the coward cucks out there, the white boys that have the white boy summer. Why doesn't that feel wrong for white guys out there? If you're a white guy and white boy summer doesn't feel wrong for you, then you need to fund some sort of research to grow testicles on gelded guys, because you are a sufferer. It is pathetic. That is the problem. This agreeableness. All we have on our side is agreeableness. We have these explicit guys. You have the implicit people coming over, and even the explicit, like the Phoenix woman, 1, 5, 6, 7, or whatever she was, coming over saying, well, Maloney has to fail in office. She has to be a Zionist in office. There's an excuse for you. You've got the exact same people who are Putin supporters saying the same thing. They're going to say the exact same thing. Well, he had to say it's war on the Anglo-Saxons. Or you're misunderstanding him, Jason. Or whatever it is. More excuses. How about he's an anti-white POS? He's been in power for many years, while anti-whiteism has been eradicating, white erasing our people across Western civilization. And what has he done? What has he said? He could have used that as a moral cudgel over the West every single year he's been in power, but not one. So I think Putin is a piece of shit. That's what I think. I think he's as bad as Biden. That's what I think for the white race. Worshipping this guy and never once giving you a piece of information that he cared about Western kind. Never once. It'd be like, this is the same sort of sectarianism that caused us to be decimated as a population in 2 world wars, and who knows how many, countless other wars where we've been driven at each other. Because we started anti-whiteism. Not some other group of humanity. We did. When we started saying, well, this one ethnicity is better than the other. If you produce what looks like Western civilization, you are Western kind. Asian people, as splendid and wonderful as they are, they don't do that. African people, as splendid and wonderful as they are, they don't do that. Western people can't produce Asia. Western people can't produce Africa. It's just nature, in my opinion. You're going to look at this sectarianizing warfare and these sectarianizing claims, and you're going to say, well, he's better than... Why? Why bother? Why say that? How does that advance our cause? The only way that it could be of service to us is to try to be one of those, we're winning because he is. Fucking children. Go get behind your mama's skirt. Go get behind your mama's skirt. You send her out here to fight? You want to send your little girls and your old women out here to fight? Go get behind their skirts, you fucking cowards. Where's the white race? That's what I'm asking today. Where's the white race? and this in the white sympathetic sphere, who for my entire life in it, my entire life has done nothing but mock the implicit white sympathy folks for being cowards, for being wimps. Well, look at how fat, look at how, etc. On and on about them. On and on. And then look at how the explicit white sympathetic people talk, what they endorse, who they reject, who they don't want to hear from. I tell you, the same kind of people that followed Leonidas, the same kind of people that followed George Patton are the people who follow me. Using startling rhetoric, Putin portrayed the annexation as a holy war against the West, which is helping Ukraine to defend itself. Quote, they, the West, are moving toward open Satanism, he said in a speech broadcast to millions online. Western elites were teaching, quote, sexual deviation to children who change their gender, he said. Quote, we're fighting for historical Russia to protect our children and grandchildren from this experiment to change their souls, close quote. He added, Putin invoked Jesus by name to bear witness to his truth and portrayed himself in messianic terms. This is so like and all these people who are claiming in this utterly feckless, futile, useless Christian nationalism that simply cannot work, never has worked, already fracturing. And you see it here. They're all going to come out and they're going to say it's Christian nationalism. It's for Christ. It's for Christ. That's why they're doing it. And the good Christians out there know that this has nothing to do with Christ. Quote, I believe in the spiritual power of the Russian people, and my spirit is its spirit. The suffering of the people is my suffering, he said. The destruction of the Western hegemony is irreversible, he added, as he neared the climax of his oration. His mysticism stood in contrast to his justification for seizing Crimea, which he based on historical grounds. Putin also blamed Anglo-Saxons, referring to the UK and US, for blowing up 2 Russian gas pipelines to Germany this week in a potential casus belli with NATO. He jeered the European public for soaring food and energy prices due to his invasion. No, he would not have done that. He jeered? No. Quote, you need food, Putin said. You can't heat your apartments, he said. Okay, this is clearly an anti-white author of this rag, taking 2 things that Putin said out of context. Clearly, he's saying to the European populations, you need food, you need to heat your apartments, and here I am for you to be able to do that. We can put food on your tables, we can warm your asses. And this POS writing, this anti-white POS writing this, is saying that he's mocking them. He jeered them because they can't keep warm and can't feed themselves. That's war propaganda. The rest of the speech went along well-worn lines, accusing Western countries of imperialism, colonialism, hypocrisy, and historical sins, such as the bombing of Hiroshima and Dresden in World War II. Is this satanic phantasmagoria and sexual hate speech are also familiar themes in Russian propaganda. But while Putin is known for using foul-mouthed language, such as necrophilia jokes at state events, who knows if that's an outright lie or not. His cocktail of sex, religion, and geopolitics on Friday was headier than ever. For their part, EU leaders are preparing to impose new sanctions on Russia when they meet in Prague next week. Well, the reason they're able to consider and will be imposing more sanctions on Russia meaning infliction of suffering on Russian oligarchs and the general Russian population, because this is the great tiger that oligarchs, or the great lion that oligarchs wield, is the population in a country. The reason they're able to do that is because the European populations are unable now to get warmth and food by way of Russia and a cessation of the war in Ukraine, since someone, it seems like it would be in the interest of the United States, but someone blew up Nord Stream. And so Russia can't supply these things now. And so these people are going to come in and impose more sanctions, which are going to do what? Nothing to them. It's going to make more of our white brothers and sisters, particularly in Europe and Eastern Europe, suffer heating shortages, energy shortages, and food shortages as they come up on a freezing cold winter. Which, by the way, for those of us in the United States, many of us often forget where you are on the globe relative to our fatherland in Europe. Where you are on the globe relative to Europe. Virginia is on the same latitude as Spain. Everything else is north. So we are hot in the winter compared to Europe. It's going to be cold, and it's going to be cold and hungry. And that's because of these anti-whites who are in charge. It's not Russia is the good guy. No, they are anti-white oligarchs as well. In fact, the main anti-white oligarch that is targeted by the West in Russia, the one that they're always talking about at least, happens to not even be white. So are they the good guys? All of you out there who would keep pointing at Russia, you keep just hold on to your little teddy bears as you hug the old woman's leg or the little girl's leg that you have sent out to fight for you. You just hold on to your teddy bear, each of these little beliefs. Your little what is this called? The blanket, security blanket. You just hold on to your little security blankets that Musk is our guy, that Putin is our guy, you fucking cowards. If I were in front of you, I would slap your ass so hard in the face. I wouldn't punch you because you don't deserve to be punched. I would slap your ass to the ground. And I would keep slapping you until you started crying and decided you were either going to be a man or capitulate. And then I would send you to be with the ladies. The aim to blacklist Russian ideologue Alexander Dugin. This guy is a nothing. Everybody stop talking about him. This Dugin is a nothing. He's always been a nothing. He will continue to be a nothing. He's of no value. He's nothing. They are to strike at Russia's oil, steel, and forestry industries. So they are going to not only deprive our brothers and sisters in Europe, somewhat, Eastern Europe, absolutely, Southern Europe, absolutely, not only going to starve us and freeze us to death, but they want to do that to our brothers and sisters in Russia as well. That's the goal. In the white sympathetic sphere, those who are explicit, at least we should be shrewd and manly enough to be able to see the writing on the wall, to not get swept up as our grandparents and great-grandparents did in great big world wars and war propaganda. Quote, Russian travel documents issued in those regions, the 4 Ukrainian areas annexed by Russia on Friday, are not recognized by member states as well as Iceland, Norway, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, for the purposes of issuing of a visa crossing the external borders closed, quote, and internal EU documents said, in a decision being prepared alongside the new Russian blacklists. Ukraine said it was applying to join NATO in its riposte to Putin's move. Well, it's actually not a very good riposte. It's actually a pathetic. All right. I have to say that I've been here for too many years dealing with this stupidity. I've been here for too many years dealing with the white sympathetic sphere holding on to its security blankets. I can look back, and maybe you can too, those of you who are good, real men and women of the West. Look back 10 years, look back 20 years ago. Look at how more favorable the environment was to recapture our destiny. This is just our lifetimes. Look at how much more white our countries were. Look at how many more people we had who were willing to take on board a lexicon that would empower them. Look at now how many more people we have in our midst from other lands who hate Western kind and Western civilization, who are very happy to achieve numerical courage and begin to project their biospirits onto our environments. I understand that the white sympathetic sphere, that's implicit. The rank and file conservatives and patriots and MAGA folks in the US and similar folks in every Western country, I understand that they are led astray by conservative content creators, by liars and thieves, by people just shilling for their next number one book on the sellers list, making themselves. I understand that those people, they're also the same kind of folks who, upon hearing or seeing other information that before we really had the lexicon to share the key concepts, things that were a bit, their edge was a bit too hard because people were being antags. They were being antagonistic, playing the villain, being the antagonist in the anti-white narrative. So therefore being the villain. And so when you went to them and you had this garbage and you were being the villain, no wonder good people turned away from you and spat in your direction. No wonder. But the folks who are explicit in the white sympathetic sphere about their white sympathy, they at least, I thought, should be able to hear the truth and see actual moral courage, not degenerate braggarts talking about how someday they're going to commit violence and murder innocent people, you pieces of shit. Not those people. I thought the white sympathetic sphere would be able to look at true heroes stepping up. It was all a fucking lie that they would. Because where the fuck are they? The whole goddamn thing, the vast majority are just degenerates. They either want to hold on to some security blanket so that they don't have to do something. Like Putin is going to do it for us, or Musk is going to do it for us. Or they want to be the cheerleading cowards who want to say, we did it when Musk buys something. Or we did it when Putin annexes something. They want to put up posters of black rappers on their walls. They want to make excuses for politicians why they don't do anything. We should have 10,000 folks here right now. This video should get 1 million views because there are at least 1 million white sympathetic people who should be able, explicit ones, who should be able to get this. But they don't. Because we are sick people. We are a sick people. And there ain't no amount of hurt that can make you better. So anybody out there saying worse is better, you're wrong. There ain't no amount of hurt that can make you better. Look at how we act in South Africa. You're going to watch your little girls get ritualistically raped and murdered on the table in front of you, you fucking cowards. That's what you're going to do before you stand up with me and do the thing that works. Then you're going to talk about, well, when the day comes, you're a coward. You're not going to do shit because you're doing nothing now with your big talk or your worship of black rappers, or you're hiding behind Mama Maloney's skirt. There ain't no there is no masculinity left in the white race. There's no manliness left in the white race. There are no heroes left in the white race. Everywhere I turn, it's thousands and thousands and thousands groping with pacifiers in your mouths to the next idiotic. Here's an action item right now while we're together. Right now while we're together. I am going to tweet at Representative Paul Gosar, and I'm going to gab the same message to Representative Paul Gosar. The man has come the closest to pissing off, and the most, I guess, to pissing off the anti-whites to the point that they decide we're just going to get rid of him. So he might be soon. They might get rid of him soon. If you don't know, they can actually do that in the United States government. I'm not talking about murdering him. They can just essentially make him utterly powerless. He can't do anything. I am going to tweet and gab at him. And I want you to retweet and regab. Don't have a Gab account, Jason. Fucking make one. Don't have a Twitter account. Fucking make one, you lazy bitch. I want you to tweet it and regab it. I don't want an excuse. There ain't no time for excuses. Mortars are falling, are raining down all around us. Our women are being gang raped by anti-white militaristic rape gangs that they've convinced our people to call grooming gangs, as though it's a bunch of fucking hairstylists running around town. And then you just take it. You just take it. What do the anti-whites want us to call it? Let's just, whatever the anti-whites want us to say, we'll just say. It doesn't matter how much reason and logic and evidence that no white guilt can put forth that talks about the psychology of the mind that I can't argue against and that nobody can argue against, nobody can overcome. We're just going to ignore it and do what the anti-whites do. What they say for us to do, we'll do it. You want us to call it whiteness? We'll call it whiteness. We're going to start separating the wheat from the chaff. We're going to make this hard line as hell. Hard line as hell. You're either going free or I'm sending you to fucking hell. You got it? You're either going free or we will send you to hell. It's going to be the anti-whites or us. One or the other going to send you to hell. You want to have somebody telling you what to do? Well, you got it. We're going to take that mommy figure in your life that you want to tell you what to do. We're going to take that bitch and we're going to turn her over my knee. And I'm going to take my belt off. And then you know what's going to happen? As I lay into her and tell her that she's never in charge again. She's never fighting for us again. You know what's going to happen? She's going to grin. And you're going to fall in line and learn how to be a man. This is what's going to happen. You're going to make a Twitter account or you're going to make a Gab account today because you're going to retweet and you're going to regab my message that I'm sending to Representative Paul Gosar, where I challenge him to call the anti-whites anti-white. I challenge him to call their doctrine anti-whiteism. And you're going to be polite as I'm polite, but aggressive and forceful as I'm aggressive and forceful. We're going to get him to say anti-white and anti-whiteism. We'll start there. And then if we can get a male to stand up and be a man and not just what he's doing now, he's just fiddling around the edges with tools that will lose. If we can get him to be a man and stand up, that is going to stand in stark contrast to all these Greens out there and all these Levitts out there, all these Carolines and all these Boberts and all of these others that keep getting elected in record number by a race that has become too effeminate to survive. Make another argument to me about why a woman should do our fighting for us. And we'll get you your tutu, you pussy. Here it goes right now. During the show, live. Bam, there goes Twitter. Bam, there goes Gab. Now you're going to either be in the fight or you're going to be back with the little girls. What's it going to be? We're not going to take credit for things we didn't do. We're not going to be celebrating today that we're so bad because now we're back in Twitter. We did it. We're not going to celebrate today because Putin annexed 4 states. We're going to actually do something to make a difference by changing the concepts that are used to discuss our world, which changes the story that we're in. Looking so sick and tired. Let me see what you all are saying. I want to see some men stepping up. And here it is. I want you to visualize this. You got a mountain's peak. All right? This is Everest. You got a mountain's peak. At the very top of that mountain is the man of the West. You got it? This is what the man of the West is like. This is where he draws the line. This is how he behaves. It's moral wrath. It's love. It's passion. It's indomitableness. On this side are the effeminate cowards. And on this side are the violent folks who want to murder innocent people. No morality, sick POSs that should be straitjacketed and thrown away so that nobody has to suffer the kind of sick. Because make no mistake, if they weren't able to play villain as a white sympathetic, they would play it as something else. You're just dealing with the refuse of society. They would be your next Satanists. They would be whatever comes next, just so they could get off on harming innocent people. So there's your mountaintop. We're going to see what's finally going to start coming of this. All right, we got 2 over on entropy. And that is Sound Killer, financially gifting $5. God bless you, brother. Thank you so much for that. And he says with those $5, hello, Jason. Did you see that Mark Dice used the term white erasure recently? Yes, I did, brother. We mentioned it on Sunday. Thank you for that, though. I'm sure he came up with that himself. Yes, I'm sure he did as well. Good on him, too. We got the great Tall Kevin here, for which the question widget is named Tall Kevin Widget. $14 from Tall Kevin. Thank you, brother. He says, hey, all. Sending positive vibes your way. Looking forward to a great October and hope you all have a great one this year. Keep up the great work, everyone. Sincerely mean that. He does sincerely mean that. Thank you so much, good brother, because he's been out there. He has done things that caused Andrew Torba of Gab to retweet us and to find out about us. It was his doing. He created a sticker that was in keeping with white positivity. He placed that sticker many of those stickers out there where it was legal to do so. I think he may have found some of them elsewhere. Torba ended up seeing it. Torba ended up regabbing it. People came to find out about us as a consequence. And he's done other things. He gave thousands of dollars to a content creator so that my website would be advertised every time that content creator went live. So it'd be seen again and again, exposing us to more and more people. That has to be done. You see, because we are censored from top to bottom. Our voice, our message by the anti-whites. But we're not only censored by the anti-whites, we're also censored by the white sympathetic sphere. So we've got it from two sides. And why the anti-whites censor us? Well, if you contradict anti-whiteism, they're going to censor you. Why the white sympathetic sphere? Well, when you succeed where they have failed, their jealousy gets in the way. And so we need champions like, we need more people to act like that man of the West. We have Matt here, just financially gifted on Entropy. Thank you, Matt. $5 financial gift. Jason is right about everything. He says, I see no point in following any other content creator except using their channel to promote the going free practice. I deeply appreciate that, Matt. Thank you so very much. All of your words there, man. God bless you. Thank you for that. Yeah, get over into, you can be in other people's chats. You can talk about, spread the lexicon. That's what our outreach team does. Join the outreach team. We have one that is public, and they will, but we also have teams within our going free clubs. We have an outreach team that is public. The email for them is in the description below. You can participate and help to change the world. You're seeing anti-white, anti-whiteism, Western kind, white erasure increasingly all over the West because of us. And anybody saying otherwise is just a jealous prick because their ideas and their vehicle didn't work. All right, let me see what's over. Wow, a man of Herculean proportions, a true man of the West. So few to stand up today. Don't you, anybody out there, don't you, not one in the white sympathetic sphere, implicit or explicit, talk about our gallant history and our heroes if you don't act like one. Because you got no connection to those champions. Not the least. Not the least. You know all their names? Good for you. You know all the battles? Good for you. They wouldn't have you. They would not say hello to you. They wouldn't not only not have you in their midst and in their ranks, they wouldn't say hello to you. '07s, please. Everyone. '07s, raucous emojis, W's for victory. For Clips, who just financially gifted $100. $100. And for those out there, 100 save the white race. 100 put down anti-white tyranny dollars. For those of you out there who want to say, whoa, it's the dollars. It's about the dollars. This man, the dollars are the least of what he does. They're the least. He's got an hour of time invested or more for every dollar he's ever given. Because he knows that if he wants to honor the heroes of our people, if he wants to honor their sacrifices, he has to be just like them. God bless you, man. No white guilt clips. All right, I'll take a look at the live chats. Keep an eye open for any other financial gifts coming in. And then we're going to check out of here. Nationalism TV. Gifting 78 library tokens. Criticizing me yet again. And now when I'm so angry over the ship going down in the West, and because of cowards, because of people who want to be critical of a guy, me, and a movement, an idea, an ideology that's succeeding, the only one that works. Show me any others that work. I'm not saying that the Go Free method is the only thing that will ever work. I'm just saying it's the thing that works. We have changed societal conversation. That hasn't been done by anybody else. So you're going to show up and you're going to criticize me for being passionate. Are you absolutely, abjectly an imbecile? How fucking stupid are you? You are clearly not an advocate, a white positive advocate. You are clearly not in service to white well-being. You are clearly some me-not who wants to show up all the time, and you're going to gift these paltry sums because you know that I will read the financial gifts. But now I'm not only going to read that you are criticizing me here for my passion. He's trying to say that my passion doesn't make my argument stronger. Dipshit, I have made the most powerful arguments. No one can contend with them. Nobody comes back and makes arguments against me. Nobody makes an argument that stands up in the light of day to the arguments that I have made dispassionately. My passion is because the ship is going down. My passion is because time is getting short. But arguments, reason and logic and evidence isn't enough for idiots like you. That's the problem. It isn't enough for idiots like you. Because if it were, you would be endorsing and celebrating and just as angry that the ship is going down with us on it. Because there are too many people out there who are not man enough and woman enough to stand up with reason, logic, and evidence and do what needs to be done. You just want to check in with your midget stick every other stream with some pathetic criticism. So that's what Nationalism TV had to say, which we won't be reading any more of this cocksucker over on Odyssey anymore because he's done. If you had been a follower of his in that subscription, stop following, immediately go to Odyssey or wherever Nationalism TV has their channel and unfollow, unsubscribe, whatever else you think necessary. I mean, you have all of this endless nonsense from the white sympathetic sphere, all of these me-nots. In the midst of this, everything continues to go down. We have something that works. And in our circle of being angry at the failure and of how pathetic the white sympathetic sphere is, you're going to come in then and have more criticism? Yelling, this is the kind of cocksucker that says, that Jason guy's too passionate. Let me tell you about this 1930s guy. Let me tell you about him. Let me tell you about this 1930s guy. But the Jason guy's too passionate. Over here on the question widget, the great Mestizo says, "Hail Jason, retweet and quote tweet his message to Gosar, do the same on Gab. That's the great Mestizo. You know he's going to stand up. Hail Jason, he says, retweet and quote tweet his message to Gosar. Do the same on Gab. God bless you, brother. Let me check over here one more time. Very good. Nobody over there. We didn't miss anybody. Scrolling through, I see the champs. I see Yiz. I see Axis. I see Elaine and Joe and Franklin and Fornall. 0022. There's Jerome. There's Bescape. Ezra. Eric. Splash. Looks like Ezra got his ass banned. On good grounds. Art Acrobat says Musk could give No White Guilt $1 million, but didn't. Yeah, he could give me $1 million. Yeah, I mean, he could give him $1 million to him is like $1 to all of us. It is $1 to us. He could come give us, if he cared about the West, he could give us $1 million. He could give us 5. He could give us 10 million. He could provide the attorneys. He could provide everything we need. Cool Papa is here. Great to see you. Fernal, I just posted my Gab. Oh, he found it. Promethean Epoch is here. Great to see you. There's no question. I see Franklin saying that Nick Fuentes is no leader. There's no question that he's not a leader of anything except a late night comedy show. You can't have as the leader of a cause somebody who advocates that your strategy be to say, just kidding, which he's done. And then what did he just say? He just had a show like a month ago that was shared the info with about how he's never been. I'm going to have to look it up. I saw this. I'll tell you exactly what he said. Let's see if I can find it. Thought it was in this, maybe not. Well, he called, just from memory, he said that damn. Wish I could find it. He said that I really should find the exact verbiage. But he essentially rolled back everything that he stood for, supposedly. Like he was saying that he was supposedly so critical of Jews. He rolled that right back. He rolled back. He said blacks and who else are historic minorities, and they have a claim to the United States, and there's something of this nature. Which, how does that work for advocating for white people? You're not taking anything away from any other group of people to put an end to our victimization. So his entire angle of attack is a zero-sum game for one group or another. And then, and apparently all of these followers are too stupid to understand this. And the people calling this late night guy a leader, too stupid to understand this. So his angle of attack is a zero-sum game. So when he gets in trouble and has to walk that back, it becomes zero-sum for whom? For these other races. That's why he had to say that. We'll have to find it some other time. I can't find it now. But I watched that, and I think a lot of people were surprised by what he was saying. But of course, it has to be that way when your angle of attack is that which he has taken. Then when you have to walk it back, it becomes detrimental to white people. Maybe it's further in here. Nah. Oh, well. That is not a problem that we have, because my strategy is correct. My strategy succeeds. There's no comparing what Nick Fuentes has done to what we have done. He's made himself very popular and very scorned and very censored by playing the antagonist in the anti-white narrative, which is going to get a lot of eyes on you. He also has a strategy that will work for very young people, which is the I'm just kidding strategy. So that's why his audience is very young, because they can say something that offends people, they can get a little chuckle out of it, and then when consequences come after them, they can say, I'm just kidding, I'm actually just a Catholic. I'm actually just a Catholic. Oh, that was another thing that he said as part of the video, was he's a Catholic, he loves everybody, this wasn't like a platitude that he was saying, by the way, just to make it clear. It wasn't like it was a platitude that he was saying for censors. By the way, what censors over on his own platform? That, I think, is that platform owned by a Jewish guy? I don't know. You could tell me. But this was something he was saying in earnest. It was something that he was saying very seriously. So that kind of strategy, I'm just kidding, I'm a Catholic, I love everybody, won't work to recapture our destiny. So if you're calling that a leader, then you're telling us a lot about you, not about Nick Fuentes and whether or not he could be a leader. Alan here pointing out to Franklin and me that no one in public life has criticized Putin for his Anglo-Saxon remark. That's true. I'm not seeing it criticized. Has anybody else in the white sympathetic sphere criticized it? Now, the establishment is anti-white. So Putin could say, we're going to kill off every Anglo-Saxon. He could say that. The establishment is going to be, if they could use it for war propaganda to say, look at how crazy he is, they would use it. But otherwise, they don't care. They would like if he could kill off everybody that could be considered Anglo-Saxon. Another, once again, demonstrating how anti-white they were. Of course, if he said, if you insert the word Jews in there for Anglo-Saxon, well, then the establishment would be talking about it, wouldn't they? Then it would be news everywhere. Then it would be written in the sky. Anglo-Saxon, that's not fine. But in the white sympathetic sphere, yeah, folks should be talking about that. This guy is no friend to the white race. And you can't say, oh, well, he stands up for his people. So what? So what? In a sectarianizing way that's ultimately going to cost millions of lives of the Russians and Ukrainians and Americans and Canadians and Brits and whoever else gets sucked into the war before Russia's finally defeated? Zippity-doo-dah. Well, you're such a wit. The great artificer is here. Great to see you. No W Guilt is here. Says hello, brother, with a flexing arm. Bass guitarist is here, and he says, howdy to everybody. Whoa, we just received a, look at this. The great 4-0 has come in on Cash App. God bless you, man. $50 financial gift. 07s for 4-0, the champ. $50 financial gift, man. God bless you. And he says, for tirelessly fighting for Western kind. I really appreciate that. Raucous emojis for this man, please. We're going to be getting out of here in a moment. But raucous emojis while you have time. Thank you all for celebrating. JC and Misty and Jerome. And there is Ladybug also celebrating. Thank you. And Elaine and Pearl Lady and Omega, Brandon, everybody who, Lunder from down under, everybody here celebrating. Thank you all. Franklin saying cringe TV. That's funny. Odinson saying small sticks TV. That's funny. All right. Nancy is here. Avenger is here. Coconut is here. All right, folks. Looks like that is about it. You want to know why North Korea launched the missile over Japan? It's because, oh no, we have Tall Kevin back again. Another $14. We got to get some 07s for him. Cross the $20 barrier. 07s and raucous emojis for the great Tall Kevin. Taller than them all. He says with that $14, I thought the same thing about the Passion, that 1930s guy. The dude with the Pakistani burner account must have missed that class at the State Department or had the videos on mute. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Thanks, brother. Talk Kevin. Now, Jason's too passionate. All right. Let's just make sure one more time. The U.S. is having military exercises with Japan. And, well, in my opinion, the United States is currently having military exercises with Japan, which are potentially targeting North Korea. And so North Korea decided to fire a missile over top of Japan to say, probably F off. Trump suing is because he has to sue to defend himself against potential lawsuits from CNN and CNN personalities after all of his claims about them misrepresenting and slandering him and traducing him. If he did not follow that up with a lawsuit, they would be able to sue him and claim that his was just a misrepresentation of them that he obviously didn't believe because he didn't sue. All right. But yeah, go out and get your Kanye West posters. Go out and get your Candace Owens posters. It's a big win for all the cheerleaders out there. Big wins. They're gonna have their Twitter. They're gonna have, and they did it. They have their 4 states in Ukraine. They did it. They're gonna have their ghetto slang and their posters of a bipolar black rapper, and they did it. Sloth saying it's only too passionate for those who don't recognize the harm. It is peaceful to see our victimizers confronted. Absolutely. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for talk about Camp of the Saints. Except we're going to make sure that we recapture our destiny. We're going to make sure that we win. The Camp of the Saints, I would suggest just throwing it away. It's just about us dying. It's about Western civilization dying. We need to stop looking at that kind of shit. Anybody writing dystopian garbage, if you are attracted to dystopia depictions of the West, get a therapist. If you're looking at it, if you like looking at the future and it being our buildings in ruins and our civilization destroyed and the white race defeated and white erased, get a therapist. This is the Camp of the Saints. This is the real Camp of the Saints here in service to white well-being. We are a community that is a fraction of the size of other communities, other circles in the white sympathetic sphere. And we have, at this size, without paid employees, done more than the entire white sympathetic sphere has done ever. That is no exaggeration. We have inserted concepts into societal usage that change the conversation, that change the story. We didn't sit around doom documenting about how bad everything was. We didn't sit around doom dissecting who was behind it and speculating about how things could be different if we ran this or ran that or controlled these different things. We didn't continue to give excuses to politicians, which we don't accept, not one, not from anyone. We didn't try to mind read billionaires and other countries' leaders to determine whether or not they are one of us, and so therefore have an excuse to sit around and continue to be cowards. We actually got out there with our own volition, our own efforts, our own science, and changed the world. It's a dark world all around us, my friends. But there are shining lights in here in service to white well-being. We have a camp now, a camp of the saints. What are we now? What was it Bulldog who said a diamond people are coming out of the ashes of the white race. My God, are we ashes? Look at how disgusting, how absolutely disgusting and pathetic the white race has become. Well, the white race is going to have to change. We are that new diamond people. We are that camp of the saints with the torches aflare. But I tell you, over the course of last week and this week, looking at the sorts of things that so many are endorsing now and getting excited about, I got to tell you that it's not quite time for bed, but it's a lot later than you think. Good night, America.